Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, this is my review for the very last episode. I'm honestly feeling super, pretty crazy emotional over this episode. I never thought this episode would have hit me this hard, and it was kind of, watching it from beginning to end. I was practically in tears the entire time. I'm just letting you know. And the ending we got there to the episode, I love the fact that it's like a post credit scene, but it's not really a post credit scene. You know what I mean? It's like an after thing. It does feel like a post credit scene for sure, but with the way that they ended everything here, it wasn't technically a post credit scene. I really like how they handled the ending to all of this here, but just so many of the moments throughout this episode, I just thought were so amazingly done. They did such a great job. Honestly, a huge round of applause to everyone who worked on this episode. I thought this was probably, I think, the best episode. This episode was better than Rick's last episode. I'm sorry. This episode is up there for one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead to date. I have never watched an episode this good ever. I have never, ever, ever watched an episode that good. I'm absolutely blown away. I watched it right from beginning to end. I shut off my phone. I just watched it, and I just can't believe everything that we saw. I honestly just can't believe everything that we saw. So I'm gonna get into the review here. I'm gonna obviously, first of all, this will contain spoilers for the episode, which I'm sure everyone has watched, so I don't really have to warn you for spoilers too much. But I'm gonna talk about the episode. I'm gonna talk about the Rick and Michonne stuff at the end there, but I'm also gonna do a separate video on the Rick and Michonne stuff because this video is gonna get very long, and I just want to give some thoughts on some stuff and talk about some stuff that I saw. But I want to give an actual breakdown of what was actually happening there in that final scene. I thought this episode was absolutely amazingly paced. I was blown away, honestly, by the pacing of this episode here. Luke and Jules died in the beginning. That was actually surprising. I know we heard some of the Luke stuff already because of that photo that was released by The Walking Dead. They didn't see the fact that Luke was actually dead in the background there, so it kind of spoiled that death, but he didn't actually die in that scene. So, but I will say his death overall was very, very, honestly, very sad, and I was just super upset. I honestly, it brought me to tears watching that scene. It was honestly just kind of hard to believe that was it, and just the way he went, it was just really amazing. And I thought he was going to live for a second. There was actually another moment too where I thought a character was going to live, but they went down a different direction. And honestly, the direction they went with that character, and I guess I should say it with Rosita, I think it was actually perfect to go down that direction with Rosita, to give her that epic of a death. Just crazy emotional, insanely emotional. To me, Rosita is a hero, but we'll get into that right away. Daryl does mention Merle in here, and I did see actually before the Talking Dead, I guess, big Walking Dead finale event, I saw Michael Rooker there. That was really cool. Daryl was also giving Judith blood, which is really cool. That was an Easter egg, obviously, to season 2 episode. I can't remember what episode it was, episode 2 or 3 or whatever, where Rick was doing the same thing for Carl. I really liked that. I thought that was actually really cool. Mercer escaped early on in this episode. That I actually liked. I liked the fact that they did that really fast. You know what's funny? Out of all of this, though, there's one thing that I didn't necessarily like in this episode, which is some of how they handled the Pamela Milton stuff there. I kind of felt like it was a little too fast, but with everything that we got at the end, I totally understand why. I totally 100% get it. The opening was honestly amazing. Everyone's loading up. They're trying to get to the hospital. They find Coco, and they're all just trying to get to the hospital. They're all trying to get to this place here. The hospital escape scene was just crazy with the music. It felt so cinematic. That was like everything here was obviously, I think it was live music done for the finale. You could really tell the drums and everything. You could hear the drums. This felt like a real cinematic experience. I was blown away by it. I was absolutely blown away by this episode. That Rosita scene, honestly, really, it fooled me. It definitely fooled me. I always thought she was going to die there. And just when she fell down and when she actually got away, crazy, and she's just a hero. When I saw that, just what she did there, I was blown away. I couldn't believe what she was doing. Honestly, I really could not believe what she was doing. Her death and just everything that happened, I think, was absolutely just done right and was so deserving. I'm just, honestly, I'm blown away. I can't believe how well they did everything. Every single moment. I can't believe that they did it. It was crazy. Even with some of the Maggie and Negan stuff, I really did I like the fact that Negan said, "I'm sorry." And I like the fact that Maggie had a response where, later on in the episode, obviously, she said, "Thank you for that." But, I look at you and I see, the scene where Glenn died, and it's just, I can't forgive you. And the thing is, you deserve a right to stay here and stuff like that, right? There is some stuff there with Maggie and Negan. They never really explain the spinoffs yet, which is kind of frustrating. It could still be CRM related technically, but the way they kind of set it up in here is really that Daryl is going to go out and look for Rick and Michonne, because of course he's going to, right? Like he has to go and do that. Maggie and Negan, are they doing the same thing? I mean, if you listen to what Maggie said in the episode, she wants to go out there and find other places and stuff like that, right? I think eventually what those storylines are going to lead to is eventually with some of the Rick and Michonne stuff and the Daryl stuff, they're all going to eventually collide together again, right? And there's going to be that big reunion. So it seems like that's kind of where they're going with it. Daryl does know about Rick, though. Like I said, Daryl does know about Rick, and I'm really happy. I thought it would be done a little better, I will say. It just kind of happened like she just said it, like Judith just kind of said whatever. I mean, I guess she did say it the first time, but Daryl had no reaction to it because he was just like, well, you know, whatever. Like she's literally like out of it right now. She could just really be saying whatever. Later on finds out, and his reaction is kind of just not what I was expecting. You know, he's not like overly happy. He's just like, okay, well, you know, whatever. He just seems really happy. I think he just wanted Judith to be happy about it, but I definitely wanted more of a reaction there. I wanted more of a reaction from everyone else too that found out that Rick's actually out there, and that's where Michonne's going, right? But the way they play it off really is like, yeah, just Daryl and Carol really know, and that's basically it. But obviously everyone else does know, we just didn't see the scenes. Daryl actually did say the line. He said, "We ain't the Walking Dead." So Daryl was the one who sort of gave the speech. It wasn't really a speech. Like the whole thing didn't play out like it did in the comic completely. It really wasn't necessarily a speech. He said the line, he said, "We ain't the Walking Dead." In the comic, it's "We are not the Walking Dead" or something like that, but Daryl just said it differently, but still a very cool scene. Pamela Milton was arrested. We saw Lance as a walker, which was really insane. And in terms of the ending there for Pamela Milton and her getting arrested, I guess that does make the most sense. You're just going to give her Sebastian's comic ending, right? I guess it just makes the most sense. Like it is fitting. It works. Maggie did save Pamela, though. I thought that was pretty telling here for the ending. And again, I have some issues with just how the Commonwealth arc just sort of ended. It felt a little fast. It did kind of feel a little bit fast, but you know, as soon as they took down the walkers and stuff like that, they're playing music and all that. I just thought, okay, whatever. You know, they want to wrap this up because there's probably more important stuff to get to here. And oh yeah, there definitely was. Landslide was playing, and I couldn't really, honestly, that's the point where, I mean, I was already crying, but that definitely made me very emotional. You know, it was amazing to see them all having dinner and stuff like that. When Rosita told Gabriel about what happened to her, it was just really, honestly emotional. Just, it was a beautiful scene. It was heartbreaking. It was just, it's everything. It's happiness. You know, it's sadness, but it's again, just like Rosita said, everything's perfect. You know, this is so perfect. And I'm so happy for Rosita that she got to see this, that she got to see Coco, and the fact that she's going to have this life. I think it's so perfect. It's a perfect ending to The Walking Dead, to this original show anyways. And again, beautiful dinner. I love the scene of Daryl and Negan. I love the fact that Daryl looks at Negan and just nods and says, "Hey," or whatever, right? And Negan does the same. And the line that's said from Landslide is, you know, like, "When I've been afraid of changing." I love that that line is said there, because Daryl and Negan are kind of friends now, in a sense, right? Like there's that respect there, and it just, that scene there was like, wow, I couldn't believe they're actually doing that. But after Rosita's death, after that really beautiful scene, which I'm sorry, but I do have to actually not talk about Rosita's death scene, because that was the saddest part of the whole episode, and I couldn't contain myself, and I just can't. All I'm gonna say is it was a very, very beautiful scene, and I love Rosita as a character. I'm gonna miss that character so much. I think that character has done so much for the show, and I just, yeah, a very, very beautiful scene. And then we get 1 year later, though. You know, 1 year later, we see Eugene and Max. They have a kid now. That's really amazing. Ezekiel is the governor. Mercer's lieutenant governor. Like, that is so cool. I like that. I like the fact that Ezekiel's the leader again. To me, it makes the most sense. He's the honestly one of the best leaders they've had on the show. It's just so perfect. Like, it works. It's so, like, it's crazy, but I absolutely love it. And he's going to do such amazing things for the Commonwealth. You know, the Daryl ending, a lot of the stuff that happened there. Carol cut her hair short again. So we have, you know, classic Carol from the first seasons and stuff like that. Honestly, it was just everything there. It was just a beautiful ending. Daryl goes off to go look for Rick and Michonne. He's gonna, you know, radio back in if he finds anything. Obviously, he's gonna end up in France right away. That was kind of the sad thing. Me and Chelsea were actually watching it, and that's the first thing she said. She's like, "Well, there you go. Now he's gonna go to France," and like, now he's literally stuck in a whole other problem now, right? But at the end, we do see Rick and Michonne. I was not expecting Michonne. I really wasn't, but the way they did it was so amazing. A lot of the stuff that we saw of Rick was a flashback. And it really does change a lot of stuff in terms of the timeline. I'm going to talk about it in a separate video after this because this is really more my general review for the episode. But the stuff there was amazing. Michonne hasn't found him yet. We were more seeing a backstory to how Rick got a lot of those items and stuff like that. And it looks like Rick, he got close to home. It seems like he got very close to home, but obviously he got caught. And I love that scene that when he got caught, he really is held as a prisoner. It's honestly really crazy. And Rick got so mad. He got so angry because he got so close to home. And then, the CRM show up and then they arrest him. And that's just honestly amazing. And then that scene with Michonne, on her horse. First of all, her armor is so awesome. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, whoa, that is really cool armor. And then, yeah, we see her riding into, was that like thousands of walkers or people? I don't know what that was, but the whole thing here, crazy. And I love the fact that they ended with Rick and Michonne. Again, it's a post-credit scene, but it's not really. Like, it's an after-ending thing, but it is technically a part of the episode. And it really did tease what to expect. And I got to talk about the scene a lot more. But overall, my thoughts on this episode, really, honestly, absolutely just incredible. Probably one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead. I don't know if I could say it's the best one. I might be able to. Honestly, I really might be able to. I gotta think about that a little bit, but that was it was an experience. It was an experience I'll never forget, and they did a really great job. Honestly, this is really incredible. So I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.